What's up, guys? Dog sitting right now for somebody else, so the setup's gonna look a little bit different. I wanted to do my fourth video for Death Diaries. Hope you guys are getting something out of this, the ones that are watching. If you are, I'd love it if you would subscribe to the channel, share it with others who may need it. Do all that fun social media stuff, just because that's how this kind of stuff gets out there. But this one is going to be focused on the sudden death. Like, it came out of nowhere. And frankly, it was inspired by the events that happened recently with the 9 people that were on the helicopter, including Kobe and his daughter. Now, I'm not going to get into too many specifics about a couple people in my life that have been like all of a sudden that have passed. I'm gonna save that for another time. I'm more along the lines just gonna get into the type of stuff that comes up when that shit happens, because it sucks. It really, really sucks. And the thing that I noticed when I found out about Kobe was a lot of those feelings that I had when I had lost somebody close to me all of a sudden. A lot of those feelings came back. Like, a lot of those feelings showed up. Not from the place of I went back to where I was with the person that I was very close to, because I didn't know Kobe. You know, I wouldn't say I was the biggest sports fan of his, but I appreciate what he accomplished in his career. His mentality is second to none. What he was doing for women, you just hear it across the board, everything that he was doing to try to get women's basketball and women's sports ratcheted up. It made that whole thing that much more of a tragedy. But when stuff like this happens, there's this pause. There's this pause of, oh, fuck. Because it reminds us how quickly life can get taken away. You know, everybody's gonna go through their own little, not little. Everybody's gotta go through their own grieving process when this kind of thing happens. And if you've lost somebody that's close to you, especially all of a sudden, like you weren't expecting it, then I'm sure some of this stuff came up for you too. You know, you wonder, you instantly start to think about the times that you last saw them. You know, you think about the last time you spoke with them, the things that you were planning on doing, the things that you didn't say, the things that you wish you could have said. It brings up everything about this person that you wanted them to know, that you may have never actually verbalized. It's hard because it's not your fault that something like this happens. When a sudden death happens, we feel bad because we feel we could have gotten more out of that relationship. And I think that's telling. I think it shows that we really want to connect with people more. And I think we all want this in some way, shape, or form. And it's really fucking unfortunate, but sometimes when this happens, it puts things into perspective. You know, by now, by the time this video comes out, it's gonna feel different. I know the first few days after the helicopter crash, you could feel the energy. You could feel that the world was kind of on pause. That's what happens when this kind of shit shows up, because it makes you pause. Because you're not going to be able to talk to that person again. You're not going to be able to explain yourself. You're not going to be able to have another experience with them. Or maybe you didn't have the best relationship with them and you wish that you would have. And there's no way to get that back. So it's going to be a tough process for anyone who loses someone that they feel like they have unfinished business with, especially, when it's in a case where it happens all of a sudden. It's important in these situations to talk with as many people as possible, honestly. Sometimes it's really easy to talk to strangers about this type of shit because you're in a place where you're basically saying fuck it, because not a whole lot matters when you're completely numb. Not a whole lot. There's not much excitement or joy or happiness at all, because you're processing. And one of the best ways to process is to talk. Because when you stay in your head about this kind of stuff, that's when those conversations that you're having with yourself really start to weigh on you. That's when you can spend a very long time depressed, thinking about all the things that you didn't get to do. All the things that you didn't get to say. The fact that you're never going to be able to see this person again. Because if you stay in that place, you're not going to move on. And moving on doesn't mean you forget about the person. I think that's what some people are worried about when they're grieving, when they have a lot of emotion that's coming up and they want to remember this person. And one of the best ways I think that we feel like we can remember people is by being upset that they're not here. One of the things that can help is asking what you think that they would want you to do. Really think about it. Would they want you to be depressed, to not live your life? And I think in most cases the answer is no. I think in most cases when people pass, they wouldn't want the people that are left behind to be going through pain and agony for an eternity. They just wouldn't. Especially these are close relationships here that I'm talking about, that we don't want to see other people hurt. When I pass, I don't want anybody to stay in depression. Anybody that's close to me, because it should be a reminder. These are reminders. They're some of the shittiest reminders ever, but they are reminders to live life. You gotta live life. The regret, the depression, all this bad shit that comes up when something like this happens, It comes up because we feel like we have unfinished business. Even if we have been living an amazing life, especially with the person who passes, it can't not hurt. Don't try to avoid the feeling. Don't try to avoid the pain. It's going back to what I was saying before and talking about it. Actually getting out what you feel, your fears, your regrets, the things that are making you sad, the things that you're thinking about that are making you depressed, the things that are coming up that are making you anxious. Get it out. Talk to people. Because this is going to forge stronger relationships in your own life. You know, tragic events can really bring people together. It's fucked up that that shit happens. It's fucked up that something so tragic has to happen sometimes for people to cut the bullshit. To be like, oh, you know, that really wasn't that big of a deal. Most things aren't that big of a deal. Most. Really think about it. You know, use this type of shit as a gauge. Like, when you're thinking about holding on to any sort of negativity to anybody, you know, what if they died? And I'm talking about people that you're close with, people that you know, people that you're friends with, family. What if they died? Would that thing that you are mad at them about, would you still hold on to that and be like, man, that sucks that they died, but hey, you know what? They didn't invite me to that thing that one time, so I'm still kind of pissed. Or they hung up on me on the phone, or we got in an argument about something. Again, most arguments are pointless. It's just frustration, people trying to get to common ground. I think I'm going to start wrapping this one up though, because the main point that I wanted to get across is to not shy away from being around others. I know when I've lost some people that I've been very, 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 very close with, that it's happened all of a sudden. Something that can happen is you isolate yourself. And when you isolate yourself, it's going to be tough. I should say prolonged isolation. You know, everybody deals with death. Everybody deals with tragedy a little bit differently. So I do think it is important to have your alone time. But what can happen in these events is you get so upset, so depressed, so sad that, man, I've heard people before just shy away from even bringing up a subject about death. And we got to be able to talk about it, to be able to live our lives moving forward. So talk to those you love. You know, squash the beefs. Really look at what is important to you in your life. Death it's a very final thing, but it has a ripple effect. And sometimes that ripple effect can be a devastating one that people just never recover from. And sometimes it's a ripple effect that can lift people up, bring people together, squash all that bullshit, and put things into perspective. You know, so with people that have lost others that weren't expecting it, I feel for you. I really do. And I've even had a few people that I know this week, in fact, that have lost some people that they know in their lives for various reasons, but it's a reality that will never go away. Part of life is death. Some of us make it to the end, with the end being old age. Some of us don't. But we can learn a lot from it. We can bring each other together. And we can actually focus on what matters, which is our relationships. It's our relationships with the people that we love. And it's something that we should celebrate way more often than we do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'd love it if you liked, subscribed, comment, share this with somebody, and don't forget to talk to others. Don't forget to get those emotions and those things that you're holding on to. Don't forget to get those out. It doesn't take away everything, but it does help.